Attention all passengers. Flight 003, Barbie as Rapunzel, Part 2 is now boarding. Thank you for your patience during the delay of this flight. The flight for the Barbie Rapunzel computer game has been postponed until further notice. We apologize for the inconvenience. Once on board, we ask that you fasten your seatbelts and prepare for takeoff. Thank you for choosing Destination Nostalgia, and please enjoy your flight.
Hello everyone, this is your captain speaking. I just have a few things before we begin today. Just like in part 1, there is a continued warning for audio turbulence and a content warning for parental abuse throughout the episode. If either of those things are an issue for you to listen to, feel free to skip this episode. Also, while I was editing this episode, I frankly got whiplash from how quickly Libby and I go off the rails, so I thought I would do a nice little recap to ease us back into our journey with Barbie as Rapunzel. In part 1, we met Kelly and Barbie, two sisters who are painting in an art studio. The younger sister, Kelly, has a painfully relatable creative crisis and tells Barbie that she doesn't know what to paint and wants to give up. Barbie decides to solve this crisis by telling Kelly the story of Rapunzel. So Barbie tells us that the story takes place in a dark forest in a creepy old manor that is made invisible by a magic wall. Inside the manor, we meet our main character, Rapunzel. She is an artistic girl who has worked in the manor as a servant for her whole life, but we found out that she has a surprising amount of knowledge regarding beaches and men. Rapunzel is accompanied by her very unhelpful and very uncanny looking animal sidekicks, a rabbit named Toby and a dragon named Penelope. We are also introduced to the mistress of the manor, an evil witch named Gothel, who is very abusive to Rapunzel. Gothel also has an animal sidekick in the form of a horny weasel who moans way too much. While Rapunzel and the gang are doing chores, a clumsy mistake reveals a secret room. In the room, they discover a romantic portrait of Gothel and a mysterious man who may or may not be wearing a large straw hat. More importantly, Rapunzel discovers a hairbrush with her name on it and a message from her parents. Rapunzel is confused as Gothel told her that she was abandoned as a baby. Later on, when Gothel takes a very conveniently timed nap, Rapunzel discovers a secret tunnel that takes her away from the forest and into a large kingdom. While Rapunzel is exploring the outside world for the first time, she saves a horribly dressed child who falls into a pit. The child's older brother decides that it's a great time to grab Rapunzel's waist, and the two have a creepy little meet cute. In their short conversation, Rapunzel learns that the kingdom she is visiting has been in a decades-long feud with its neighboring kingdom. However, she and the mystery man do not learn each other's names. Rapunzel runs back into the tunnel, leaving the mystery man very sad and confused. Unfortunately for Rapunzel, the horny weasel sidekick had followed her the whole time and saw that she had met someone. Back in the manor, the horny weasel rats out Rapunzel, and Gothel interrogates her, demanding to know the name of the man that she met. Rapunzel replies honestly and says that she doesn't know his name. Gothel doesn't believe her and retaliates by destroying all of Rapunzel's art supplies and casting a spell to transform Rapunzel's bedroom into a tall, isolated tower. Gothel also forces Penelope's dad dragon, named Hugo, to constantly fly around the tower to monitor Rapunzel. Trapped, and now under Hugo's watchful eye, Rapunzel goes to sleep and has a nightmare about never being free from Gothel's control. Our story picks up in the middle of the night as Rapunzel wakes up. So Rapunzel wakes up from the terrible dream, and then I'm not gonna be too harsh on her, because when I wake up in the middle of the night, I kind of just stand around and stare at things. But there's like this really just awkward interaction with Hugo the dragon. He's like flying around to do his check, and they just make really awkward long eye contact. It lasts for a long time. And Rapunzel's like smiling at him like, girl, what?
See, my interpretation of this was that like somehow they have some sort of shared
trauma.
No, like shared understanding of like,
I'm keeping an eye on you.
Yeah, it's not even that, but just as like they're sizing each other up of like, are you an ally? Are you not an ally?
Yeah, he does have human eyes, so they come across as a little bit kind. But yeah. Rapunzel's. I'm talking Rapunzel. No, I just thought of, oh God, I can't say this. I thought of Rapussy. Ew. Oh no. Oh no.
Pull that image out of the
no. Oh no. She's got that Rapussy. Oh no. Oh no. Oh shit. We just started. We're only 2 minutes in and I'm already crying. I can't. Okay. Oh my God. Shit. Oh my God. I shouldn't have said that. Anyway. Shit, this is a Straw Hat all over again. Anyway. Anyway, I don't like how Rapunzel smiles. She does like this big toothy grin that doesn't match the mood at all. So anyway, I'm going to give the awkward midnight eye contact award to Rapunzel and Hugo.
Good call.
Because I've never seen it quite like that before, and I appreciate it. So something magical happens after Rapunzel falls asleep, and there's a shooting star in the sky, and it rains down stardust on the very conveniently placed hairbrush that just happens to be on the windowsill, and it magically shapeshifts into a paintbrush.
Okay, I would like to give an award to this shooting star for doing the heavy lifting here. Yeah. Doing the Lord's work in really making things happen here for Rapunzel.
Yeah, wasn't gonna include it, but we're here now, where it's like, what are the laws of magic in this universe? Like, this seems like a very coincidental thing, but it also is exactly what she needs, like she's trapped, so she'll need a way out now. Also, did the parents know that this magic hairbrush could turn into a paintbrush?
Or was the hairbrush magic beforehand?
Exactly.
And then the star turned it magic? Yeah, I don't know either. That's why I'm like, this just out of nowhere, apparently this star just shoots through the sky and then just bestows its magic onto this brush.
Like, imagine if the parents just like grabbed the first thing that they could find in the village and they didn't really put much thought into it, and they're like, well, thank God it got our daughter out of this situation. They got her a fucking book. She's just stuck in the tower forever. There's no way out. Oof, well, we really picked the right thing.
I don't know. I was having that thought a little bit too, which is why I want to bestow the star this award.
Truly pushing the plot along, which is great. And then we get back to another boring scene that I don't care about. You could tell, like, my mental state at this point in the movie. So there's just a lot of stuff that happens down in the village where we learn a little bit more about the state of the feud. The king and Stefan are just out on horses for God knows what reason. And the baker, our favorite guy, our overconfident baker, and a bunch of the village people have all of their carts and stores or whatever totally destroyed. And they say it was King Wilhelm's people. How would you know? I don't know. But they know it was them. King Daddy just decides that it's war. And Gothel is there in the market catching up on the local goss. And she mutters under her breath very excitedly, it's all coming together. Yeah. So there is some scheming and plotting afoot.
I would like to point out yet another accident happening here. Okay. It is Gothel's like Eliza Doolittle.
Hey, Car. Is there going to be a celebration?
What is happening here? Obviously, she's in disguise here.
She's not. I also wrote a note because everybody else is wearing light colors and she's in this dark hood. She looks like a fucking dementor. And I wrote, she's so tall. Nothing about her is in disguise. You can see her so clearly.
It's in shadow, though.
It's the middle of the day. It's a dark figure in the middle of the market at 12 o'clock on a Tuesday.
Yeah, but she has an accent.
I feel like she could literally be herself because she has been hidden away for so long that these people would not know who she is. Where it's like, do we really need to disguise, Gothel? I don't think they know who you are. You could just be yourself.
Just walk around normal.
You live in a hidden manor in the forest. Do you think people know who you are?
Hello! You didn't think we'd make it through part 2 without me having to jump in and add some context I forgot while recording, did you? Oh, you're so silly like that. So, in this next scene, we are back at the manor, and Penelope and Hobie are making some homemade paint to help replace Rapunzel's destroyed art supplies. I embarrassingly tried to skip this scene while recording, and Libby rightfully called me out because this is one of her favorite scenes from childhood. I mean, that is a very valid reason for not skipping this scene, but as I was editing, I've realized that this scene is quite essential to the plot because it is Rapunzel and the gang's resourcefulness by replacing her art supplies that they accidentally discover a way for Rapunzel to escape.
I also wanted to note the berry squishing scene where they're
Please tell us.
where they're trying to.
I left that out because I was like, I'm tired. But yes, please tell us about the berry.
I mean,
scene.
not a lot about the berry squishing scene, but I do remember that pretty vividly. Where they're trying to like make paint by squishing berries for Rapunzel, and they're like trying to like give her this gift, and it's really sweet.
Yeah, they're very sweet.
But I'm like that's another part that like really inspired my imaginative play. Like I know that I like
You were a berry
would
squisher.
pretend to do that and like pretend to pick berries to make paint. Like I definitely would play that.
Yeah.
And as I watched this movie, it's like as little as I remembered about the actual plot, I feel like there were a lot of like
You can find your
moments from it that I remember so clearly that like
you can find your play in it.
yes, exactly.
Before we go back into the tower, Penelope gets some annoying words from her dad.
What are you doing?
Father. I'm trying to make paint for Rapunzel.
That girl is none of your concern.
But I just thought...
A dragon should be terrifying, feared by all who see him. And what do? Fool around? Play games?
But what if it's just that, well, I'm not so sure that I want to be, all that terrifying, or even scary, or mean. Oh, definitely not me.
Enough! Have you turned your back on our code of honor? For ages, a mighty dragon has stood for power, courage, and loyalty.
I know, Father. I'm sorry.
Dude, if you pay attention, you see your girl's already doing this, and that you're aligning with a tyrant. He's a little twisted in the head. So the two goons deliver the squishy berry paint, and they discover that the hairbrush has turned into a paintbrush. What? Rapunzel goes to paint on her wall, and some magic happens, and whatever she's thinking gets painted onto the wall. Here's some comedic memes, aka Hobie's butt going through the painting.
Uh-huh.
The gang finds out that they can teleport through the painting to whatever destination Rapunzel has painted, which is very convenient.
My one qualm
Oh, yes.
with this method of painting is like it kind of takes out away part of like the art of the painting.
Mm-hmm.
Like she just can imagine something and it appears. And in this case for Rapunzel, very helpful.
Yes.
Obviously this is how she like escapes.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's as someone who likes to paint, that's not the point of painting.
Yeah.
Part of the fun of it is like picking out your different colors and layering things and deciding where you're going to put things and how do you make a tree look like a tree.
I love that that's where you go, where my concern is like intrusive thoughts. What if I think something really embarrassing while I'm painting? That's embarrassing. And now I have like a live man in my room, or my most embarrassing moment projected
in front of you.
Yeah,
That's
that
true.
was
Or like
more my
something
concern.
dangerous.
It's just like, I'm gonna fuck this up somehow.
Yeah.
Rapunzel decides that she is going to transport to the village that she has painted on the wall. Hobie is trying to stop her.
Are you crazy? You could wind up a blob of paint.
That's better than being a prisoner.
Rapunzel's like transitioning through the painting, and all of the colors in her painting are kind of like swirling. It looks very Van Gogh, and I love that. I think that's such a creative way to show that she's like, they didn't have to show us that, but they decided to give us some beauty, some visual beauty, and I love it. So I dedicated a whole slide to it because I thought it was really pretty. So she comes out to the very same orchard, the pit, where she met Stefan, but she doesn't know his name yet. To her, he still is the mysterious man, and he's waiting for her under a cherry tree, which I thought was so cute, actually.
I would also like to point out a line that Derek says.
What does Derek say?
Here that made me need to drink. And the line is, "You're full of surprises."
Oh, is this the sexual tension?
This is the sexual tension because he like, I forget what exactly happens, but basically she shows up and he's like, "Where'd you come from?" And she doesn't really say, and he just goes, "Well, you're full of surprises."
At some point too, I don't know if it's now or if it's later on in their second date, Derek tries to tell her his real name, and Rapunzel says, "It's better if I don't know." And I thought that was a very, very cute and sweet kind of subversion of the traditional, "Oh, I met you once and I don't know your name." Instead of it being foolish, now it says something of her character and her forethought that she shouldn't know his name. Rapunzel shows mysterious man the paintbrush, and she says, "Can you help me find who made this?" Stefan tells Rapunzel that they could go to the silversmiths to see if he would know what the magic paintbrush was and where it had come from. So this is what the silversmith has to say about the paintbrush.
Look at the details. Very fine work.
You made it?
Oh, no, not me. My brother.
Oh, that's wonderful. May I speak with him?
Oh, I'm afraid not. I haven't spoken with him myself in years.
Why not?
The feud, I'm afraid. He lives in Wilhelm's kingdom.
Can't you visit him there?
Nobody has gone back and forth between the kingdoms since the feud started.
You must miss him.
More than I can say, my lady. More than I can say.
Yes, we're still talking about the damn feud.
Here's my thought of this. Sir, your brother didn't make the paintbrush, the shooting star did.
You're right.
How does he recognize that it's his brother's work? Because he's like, "Oh, look at the detail, blah, blah, blah." It's like, well, your brother didn't make it.
It was the star.
It was the star.
So after the silversmith, Rapunzel and Stefan are walking around the castle gardens, which just like, can anybody do that? At this point, she doesn't know that Stefan's the prince.
She also like doesn't know anything about life, so.
But she knows what men and beaches are.
She does know what men and beaches are.
Stefan hands her an invitation to his 18th birthday party, except he doesn't say that it's his. He just says, "The prince's birthday party. Would you be my date?" And Rapunzel's like, "Yeah, sure."
Hi again. I forgot to explain that while Rapunzel is out on her adventure through the painting, Penelope and Hobie are keeping watch over the magical painting portal. At this point, the two do not know if Rapunzel is even okay, if she was turned into a blob of paint when she walked into the portal, but oh no. There is no time to worry about that because the sidekicks see that Gothel and Hugo are flying up to the tower to check on Rapunzel. Penelope realizes that her dad could be in serious danger if Gothel finds out that Rapunzel disappeared on his watch. Penelope bravely walks into the magical painting portal, crashes Rapunzel and Stefan's date, and begs Rapunzel to return to the tower in order to save her dad.
I would also like to say here where Barbie's like leaving, she's like, "I have to go." Derek, this is another moment where I had to drink because he goes, "So mysterious."
I know. He does. Yeah. Well, and he also says, like, she talks about, "Well, how will you recognize me? Because the ball is a masquerade ball." And he's like, "Your hair is a beautiful giveaway."
Yeah, it's like,
dude,
okay.
Calm down. Rapunzel, totally free at this point, goes back of her own free will to help Penelope's dad. And it's a very sweet moment. So they try to find a way back to the tower. They walk into the garden and they find a door and they paint the tower onto it, and the two walk into the tower. And there's a very sweet shot of the two of them holding hands. And they make it just in time.
I like how you pointed out on the PowerPoint. I'll come back to clean it up.
Oh, I forgot to say this.
Because I thought that too. Like,
that enrages me.
We have to make it clear that Barbie's not vandalizing.
Yeah, Barbie's a good girl. Yeah. Yeah, so she paints on the door and then tells Penelope that she'll come back to clean it up. And it's like, girl, we get it. You're good.
Yeah. It's just like,
it's a life or death situation.
Okay.
It's okay. So the Goyles make it back to the tower. And Gothel allows it. She's not impressed, but she allows it. Penelope and Rapunzel hug, and it's very, very sweet. Penelope thanks Rapunzel for coming back to save her dad. Rapunzel very quickly says, we need to get out of here. I'm leaving tonight, and you have to convince your father to go too. Which I really loved this as an adult, where it's like Rapunzel, she's here to save herself. She's set her boundaries. She's not coming back. And I was like, good for you, girl. Good for you, girl.
Yeah, and she's saying it's time, and she wants them to come with her and join her.
Yeah. Where it's
like, leaving this abuser.
She wants her friends to come with her, but she's not going to stop. She's not going to let them stop her. Which I think is very realistic. And it's like, yeah, this girl deserves her freedom. So I appreciated that. Whereas as a kid, I don't think I would have been as impressed with her. So after that, we go back to the castle for another boring info scene. So Stefan decides to ask King Daddy if King Wilhelm can come to his Chuck E. Cheese birthday party. And King Daddy poo-poos that idea.
No,
you don't know shit. You'll know when you're older. God damn it. And he walks away.
Yep, exactly like that.
Just,
That's exact verbatim. That's what he says. This is also where I was like pretty wine tipsy at this point, and I made the comment of Derek has dreamy eyebrows. I like his eyebrows, or at least I did last night.
Also, something I noticed in the scene that had been bugging me this whole time, if we're talking about physical characteristics about Derek, his pec line goes all the way up to his neck.
Yep. That's how I like it.
Fair enough. Oh, here we go.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. It's time for the unique makeover montage. So, I already gave this an award because we are in for a fucking treat. So it's the early 2000s. Makeover montages are everywhere. And Barbie Rapunzel serves us the most unique makeover montage. Rapunzel paints some dresses onto the wall, and I love this. What other girl you can say they walked into the wall and walked back out in their makeover montage?
Yeah.
She comes out with a lovely dress, but the crew decides it's too simple.
See, that is my favorite one.
I think it's beautiful.
That purple one with
gorgeous.
like the ruffle sleeves and I love that one.
Glittery enough.
It's not quite as like bold. Yeah, okay, but I love. That's my favorite one.
That's my favorite one too. I literally thought, I was like, wait a second, is this her real dress? No, it's not. Rapunzel straight up decides, I don't need this wall anymore, and she starts painting on herself because she's getting more confident.
Yeah,
it's very fun.
I did like that.
And she does a very boisterous Easter-like bonnet and very puffy dress, and the gang poo-poos that.
The Bo Peep.
It is Bo Peep, you're right.
Yeah.
It is giving Bo Peep. And they're like, that's too much. No, thank you. Then this part makes me laugh, and I remember when I was a kid and I thought the movie was too boring. This was like one of the only times I laughed, and I laughed again as an adult. Then Rapunzel goes a little abstract. She goes a little bit modern art and makes this really wacky dress, and I thought, but I still laughed. It was a good.
I like how like for this one the background also changes.
Yes.
They like do like a whole like a psychedelic moment,
and that is part of what makes it so funny. Is like suddenly she's just in this abstract shape
where there's just colors and lines.
It's a really funny comedic beat.
Yeah.
Sure. So I give this whole makeover montage an award for being the most unique makeover montage.
That's very good.
So then our girl in classic Barbie form, we gotta have a magical girl transformation.
Yes.
We gotta. And you know it's gonna happen. And this is probably gonna be the dress that they sell on the doll because she spins around and there's a lot of glitter and it's shiny. Magical girl transformation. It is a staple in Barbie movies, and we get our magical girl moment with Miss Rapunzel. She comes out with a very glittery purple and pink poofy dress. And that's the one. Since this is the first time magical girl transformation has appeared on the podcast, I'm giving the award to Rapunzel, but I have a feeling this will not be the last, that magical girl transformation.
No, probably not.
It will become a staple award on this show. I know for a fact. So Rapunzel's magical glowy light is strobing out of the tower, which again, I was kind of screaming. I was like, girl, be more discreet.
Yeah.
And the camera pans down and we see that little rat weasel horny boy, little horn dog, has seen everything, and he's gonna snitch. He crawls into the tower and he grabs the invitation to the prince's ball, and the gang is too busy humming and hawing over Rapunzel's beautiful dress, they don't even notice. Yeah, so that is the downside to magical girl transformation.
It is. It's not subtle.
It's not discreet. It's not good for stealth. All right, so here we are. Gaslight, gatekeep girl boss. The third
Yeah.
act. Gothel comes in and she's ready. She's out for blood. She comes in and she freaking cuts Rapunzel's freaking hair off. She also destroys the portal and the paintbrush, and it's all very, very sad. So Gothel takes Rapunzel's hair, climbs out of the tower, and is riding Hugo the dragon. And she's at an insult to injury.
One more chance, Rapunzel. Who's the boy? Tell me his name.
I don't know.
Then live with your lies. Forever!
She curses the tower, and this is the curse that she says. Tower, tower, do your part. Never release your prisoner with a lying heart. So it's not looking good for Rapunzel. She's lost every advantage that she has so far of escaping. Her piece of her identity has been cut off, and she's cursed to live in this tower forever. Not great.
So Gothel and Hugo fly down to the bottom of the tower, but Gothel is not finished with her reign of terror. Gothel, surprise, surprise, turns on Hugo and punishes him for allowing Penelope to be friends with Rapunzel. She casts a spell that chains Hugo to the tower. Hugo is very shocked and angry, and I am not. I am not feeling bad for him yet.
So this is where we start getting some aggressive scene jumps. We are jumping all across the land. There are 3 plots that are coming together all at once. So we jump to the castle, and it's dark. And a man with a big crown, which again is not great for a stealth operation, you big dummy.
Leave your crown at home.
Leave the crown at home. We meet King Wilhelm, and he has a big ass crown, and he's got a very rectangular beard. And he tells his men that tonight is the night. Frederick will pay once and for all. So we finally learn King Daddy's name. Frederick. And he will never forgive him for what he's done. What he's done, we don't know yet. Yeah. Also, we cut to the ball. Inside the castle, we're having a lovely masquerade ball. A very convenient masquerade ball. And that's also when I realized that the little girls with the silly dresses were wearing the same dresses that they were wearing earlier, and it was probably a budgeting thing. I was tearing these children apart for their wardrobe.
They were not cute. Even for the masquerade ball, like, they're not good outfits. I don't know.
So meanwhile, at the ball, Gothel shows up with Rapunzel's hair as a wig and a mask. So she looks just like her.
Yeah. I do not really like the fact that Derek only recognizes Rapunzel by her long hair. That does bother me quite a bit.
Yeah.
Really? I know you're wearing a mask, but the mask barely is a mask.
That is a classic trope too, where it's like I'm wearing 3/4 of a mask. No, not even 1/4.
It's like literally just like circles around the eyes.
1/3 of my face is covered, and you won't know it's me. She and Gothel have completely different face shapes and nose lengths, and it's like
even like statures.
It's my girl, yeah, and she's so fucking tall.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she shows up like in a completely like something that Rapunzel would never wear.
Yeah, right.
It's like it's my girl because she had got long hair.
Right.
Stefan sees her, calls out to her, but she plays hard to get, running away throughout the ballroom, and Stefan chases her.
I like how Derek is just sorry, Stefan.
I keep calling him Derek. I like it. Fucking Derek.
Fucking Derek. I like how Derek is like, ooh, we're playing a game now, little cat and mouse. Yeah, like. It's just kind of it's a little gross of like, ooh, you coy. Like he's like super into it.
This is a point where it becomes clear that this man should not be king. Like this guy is a dumb.
I literally wrote, this boy be dumb.
But something about the way that they did this scene is just so fucking funny to me. So
or should you just hear the the boots?
I need to explain this to the listener. Okay, so Gothel is running and you hear like there's no background music. They're outside and there's literal cricket sounds. There's just cricket noises and then the clip-clop sounds of them chasing each other. So you'll see a shot and Gothel's clip-clopping away. And then you'll cut to Stefan and then he's clip-clopping away. And the crickets are just deafening. And there's like a minute of this. The two of them just running, and there's no dialogue. I mean, obviously because Gothel doesn't want to give it away, so it makes sense that there's no dialogue, but like, could we do some background music? Something. But it's literally like, what it reminded me of was those meme edits of like music videos or whatever, where they remove all of the background noise except for like the sounds of like the steps and like the squeaking of chairs and like the sounds like the grunts that the people make, except somebody paid for this. Yeah. This is a movie.
It reminded me of like a video game, because like also Gothel only runs at like right angles.
That's true. The way that she runs is insane.
She's like, and then she like stops for him to like catch up to her, and then she like turns at a right angle.
Turns 90 degrees.
Yeah. And then, like,
it took me like a second rewatch of that scene to figure out what it was that was bugging me so much, and it was the fact that there's no sound other than crickets and footsteps. She leads him into a hedge maze, which I feel like it should be some sort of royal training course that says, hey, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't follow some strange lady into a hedge.
There's nothing good in hedge mazes.
Nothing. No. Even if you think you're going to get the Rapussy. Don't go into the hedge maze. It's not worth it.
In no film ever has the hedge maze been good news.
No, never.
Nope, not in Harry Potter, not in that Sherlock episode with the hedge maze.
The Shining.
The Shining.
The Shining's not good.
And Bridgerton, I think he does get the real pussy in.
I guess I had.
But it's the bad thing, because it's like, oh, scandal, you know.
I suppose, yeah. Well, I'm glad somebody got it. Maybe they should.
Yeah.
Somebody should. Okay, there's also a moment where Gothel is just like hanging out, and she says nothing, and she just does this lazy little wave at Stefan, and then
he goes, Derek goes, the masked lady finally stops. Like, very sexual.
Libby's been drinking this whole time. The sexual tension is off the charts. Finally, she drops the act. And this is where I really start loving the dialogue. Gothel's throwing out some fantastic villain lines in here. So she pulls off her wig, and Stefan's little himbo face, his brows furrowing. He's trying to figure it out. What's happening here? The hair's on the ground. Who's this? I thought this was Rapunzel. But the hair's not on the head. He's like a dog. Or like, can't see certain things.
Or like a baby who can only see like shapes.
Yes. All he can get out is, who are you?
I'm the one who's going to teach you not to meddle with my plans.
Excellent.
What a good comeback.
And then she hits him with the laser, and I was grasped by the thought that hedge maze laser tag would be fantastic.
Yeah,
and if somebody has not created that yet, please do, and I will go there. And that's all. So then we cut back to the manor. Dad Dragon is still being a dumbass, but Penelope remembers that Rapunzel loves her, and she uses that to be brave and to stand up to her dad.
Father, please, I have to tell you something.
No, nothing more from you.
I'm going to tell you anyway. Rapunzel saved your life, and you didn't even know it. She was free, and she came back here because I asked her to.
What?
She came back so Gothel wouldn't destroy you.
Dad Dragon finally gets it, and he, I guess, was the one who thought, hey, maybe Rapunzel doesn't have a lying heart. They needed the Dad Dragon to put that together, I guess. Once Dad decides he's on the team, he gets really sweet. It's a little jarring, but it's okay. So he kind of he's like coaching her to be a mighty dragon, and she says, I won't give up. And he goes, a mighty thought. And I thought that was so cute. I was like, thank you, Dad.
I wrote, Dad's like really nice now.
It's very sudden.
It's
It's a little jarring. Penelope goes up to the tower and tells Rapunzel that since she doesn't have a lying heart, she can be free. But there's a moment of tension, which again, I think I totally missed as a child, where all three of them are terrified that Rapunzel's going to like die if she tries to get past, because they don't really specify what will happen if someone with a lying heart will go through. But their reactions, their nervousness
they're all aware of what could happen. But Rapunzel jumps through. It's very dramatic. We see a lovely shot of her passing through the curse, and she makes it, and it's very good. She's officially free. They go down to Hugo, and Rapunzel and Hugo make amends, and Hugo decides that this is a great time to give Penelope the pep talk he's been denying her for so many years, because somebody's got to fly this girl to the castle.
Yeah.
Penelope, do you believe a mighty dragon can fly over the wall?
Of course.
Then believe you can do it, for you are a mighty dragon.
Me?
What makes might? It is more than power. It is also courage and loyalty. You have never swerved in your devotion to your friend, no matter the danger. I see now that you truly are a mighty dragon, Penelope, and I am proud of you.
And I am crying during that whole scene. Oh, man. And the gang is off. And they fly over the wall, and Penelope gives out the cutest little...
I am a mighty dragon. I am a mighty dragon.
And I'm crying all over again because she did it.
Very much stuck with me as well. Like the moment of like trying, like, are you gonna make it? Are you gonna make it over the barrier? And like that, flying like that moment has, I don't know, really stuck with me.
She did it. And they're all so proud of her, and that's very sweet too. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give Penelope the Mighty Dragon Award because she deserves it. So there we go. Meanwhile, back at the castle, we are in the 4th installment of Gaslight, Gatekeep, Girl Boss, Gothel Forever. Mm-hmm. They decided that we needed a bit of, we needed a little bit more of the child-free Heg trope in here. Sure. And they throw in kind of an unnecessary scene where the kids start fighting her. After 30 more seconds of her silently chasing Stefan, and all we hear are crickets. It's perfect, but she drops kind of a weird line where she goes, and to think some people actually adore children. They're out of their minds. And it just felt a little heavy-handed. Yeah. It's like, okay, we get it, lady. You hate children. You're heartless, whatever. You must have men and children, otherwise you will be evil.
You will be a witch.
You will be a witch. Stefan comes to save the day, and he throws some random cup, I guess, at a tapestry, and it falls on Gothel. And the horny weasel gets stuck in a jar. And I just had to say, like, wow, these people are really bested easily.
Oh, a blanket fell on me. God.
And we get another cut. Oh no. Inside the castle, Wilhelm arrives and starts shit with King Daddy Frederick. And he's like, I'm gonna kill you. Wah! And my favorite is, like, they both make old men sounds when they grab their swords, like, yeah! I love that. Yeah. So I wonder if it's like, is it necessary? Like, is it like a part of the code of conduct that you must make a noise when you grab your sword? Stefan runs in and he joins in on the ass whooping, and then Gothel walks in and she says, Wilhelm, very dramatically. She probably doesn't recognize him without his straw hat. So everybody's confused, especially Wilhelm, which I love. I love that he almost doesn't remember her. I think that is very powerful, considering the level of obsession that Gothel gives him, that, like, that doesn't mean it's going to be reciprocated. Mm-hmm. I think that was a good call. So I wrote down this entire dialogue because I think it's excellent. So here we go.
So again, we meet at a ball.
Stefan goes, you knew her? And Wilhelm goes, I knew her once ago. We were friends, like, very earnestly. Yeah. And Gothel does not appreciate that boundary. She goes,
friends? You loved me. I know you did.
I wrote, yikes, girl, be chill, please. And Wilhelm goes, no, I never loved you. Like, not in a mean way, very earnestly, like he's concerned for her.
Mm-hmm. And for that, you will pay once again.
Yeah, and so it just kind of comes across that, like, he is reminded that he is fond of her because he sees her in front of him, but, like, when she's not around, he kind of has forgotten about her.
I do wonder, that portrait we saw in the divorce den, they were a little close. He maybe led her on a little bit. That picture, they're, like, holding hands, they're face to face, they're very
You don't do that with your friend,
and get a portrait of it.
Maybe he's like,
I'm wearing a great hat. I gotta get a portrait of this hat.
No one will, if I'm wearing a hat, no one will know it's me.
Gothel was like, I am taking this personally.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room for him to have been a shithead.
Yeah.
I'll give Gothel that for sure. She's totally out of line, but she could have been corrected. If she stayed at the divorce den stage, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, girl. Feel your feelings, girl. Anyway, so Gothel reveals that she started the feud. It's all coming together. Wilhelm reveals that he has lost a daughter and that he thinks Frederick stole her, which again, buddy, read the room. Like, you big dummy.
Well, that confuses me a little bit too, because like, if you think that Frederick stole your daughter, like, what do you think that he did with her? Yeah. Like, I just want to know, like, what's the...
Yeah, again, this is probably something where they could have used the word kill, but...
Yeah, that's
was probably
true.
A little too dark.
Did Wilhelm think that Frederick killed Rapunzel, or did he think that Rapunzel is just like hanging out in their town now?
I think so, because he says later she's alive. Like, he's surprised that she's alive. So I think that they had to allude to that, but couldn't necessarily say kill.
Right.
Which makes it a little confusing in the dialogue.
Yeah.
But I also wrote, I was like, Wilhelm has been spending all of his time attacking the other kingdom. If that's not working out, maybe explore some new leads.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Hey, there was this lady who was kind of obsessed with me a while ago. Maybe I should see where she's up to. Where'd she go?
Like, it's been 18 years, however old Rapunzel is. That's how long, like, you think that Frederick has, like, you think, but, like, you also, what's your evidence? Like, did Gothel, I'm guessing somehow Gothel arranged it so that, like, it made it look like Frederick, like, murdered Rapunzel or something like that, but it just seems, like you said.
I really like the theory that he just was like, I don't really like that guy. And
like,
he just stuck to it. He stuck to it the whole time.
Yeah, and then just, like, never considers that there's, like, another possibility.
He would not make a good detective.
No.
But anyway, Gothel comes up with even more toxic lines, if that's even possible.
Let me ask you, Frederick. You hate this man. Why?
He attacked my kingdom without cause.
You stole my daughter!
No! For the 1000th time, I never stole her!
No. I did.
What?
She would have been my daughter if you had married me.
Which is not how babies work.
Genetics. Honestly, I knew that even at 7. I remember being like, that's faulty logic.
Also not how personhood works either. Like, you can't just replace somebody with another baby.
I simply took what was mine.
And that line, I feel like they really nailed, like, the child as a possession for a toxic parent. Like,
yeah, and that's when you know, like, oh, she's crazy. At first, I was like, that still doesn't really make sense. Of like, why would she, like, kidnap and fully, like, raise a child just to, like, because, it was supposed to be mine. But I think you're right. I think it's more of, like, a possession thing and a getting back at Wilhelm thing. Like a revenge.
If I can't have you, then I'll take something of yours.
Yeah.
It's all very much like people as possessions and items, where it's like, well, this is something I can just take from you.
And that is a huge issue in real life of like parental abductions and like domestic abuse situations, where a lot of times the kids get caught in the middle of like trying to punish the ex-partner, or like, this belongs to me more than it belongs to you, and they're using the child as like a chess piece.
That's exactly right. So that's kind of when I really felt solidified in the like, they really did a good job with like the abusive parent thing, where they even went to the very, very disgusting depths of like, this child is not even a person. It's just something for me to have. It's like, oof, that's just yucky. It gave me the chills. And it still does. I have them right now. And then Wilhelm delivers a very great line. He goes, "Where is she, Gothel? You monster!" It's like, yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah.
And Gothel says, "Now do you see what a fool you were, Wilhelm? You could have had so much. You should have loved me," which is yucky.
Yeah. And it's delusional.
It is delusional. And Wilhelm claps back totally correctly. He says,
"You don't know what love is, Gothel."
Thesis statement.
On the point.
Thesis statement.
Point, yeah.
That's it.
And that's when I don't know, you see how like completely delusional she is with like, if I have the daughter, like she's trying to like put herself in the place of Rapunzel's mom.
Like what you said about showing that how delusional she is, it kind of takes away how powerful she is. Like, she has all this magic and all this scary shit, but at the end of the day, her plan was kind of a crock of shit, where it's like, it all depends on these people giving a shit.
you know, and wanting to take you back. Or it's like, that's a very weak plan, but she totally committed to it. And so like this facade of her being very powerful, methodical, and logical falls completely flat, where it's like, your understanding of relationships is completely wrong.
Right.
And you did all this for that? Like, yeah.
Right. And like somehow you think that this will like help you, or like, yeah, it's her trying to live in the life of like his wife. Or,
yeah. And if your understanding of love is possession, then it's like, this is what you would do.
Right.
You know?
Right.
She doesn't know what love is. For her, love is just having things and using them for her own gain.
Mm-hmm.
That's the word I was thinking of. She's a user. That's it. So the queen of excellent timing, Rapunzel, shows up after that very dramatic statement, and she's got her shoulders back and she's ready to monologue.
No more!
Impossible!
You kept me locked up my whole life because you hated my father?
True. That is crazy. And Gothel tells her he deserved to suffer as I did. And Rapunzel says that she does not want any more suffering for anybody, which I think is sweet, because she throws Gothel in there too. Rapunzel runs away and leads Gothel into the hedge maze, which Gothel should be smarter about, because that was her plan.
There's nothing good happens in
Nothing good happens in a hedge maze. And Rapunzel leads Gothel towards a certain door with a tower painted on it. And I wrote, this, kids, is why you should not clean things up right away. You're gonna never know if you might need them. But before she leads Gothel to the painted door, Rapunzel tries to appeal to her one last time, which is very sweet, and she doesn't have to do that. She asks Gothel to start all over and that she forgives her, which I wrote a note. It's a little too soon. It's okay if you don't forgive her. It's okay to not forgive her. Yeah. But it's okay to want her to not suffer either. And Gothel kind of seals her fate. She says, and be made a fool of, never. So to be in a reciprocal relationship is to be made a fool. And that's her thesis statement, and she's sticking by it. So Rapunzel runs behind the door and closes it in Gothel's face, and Gothel walks into the painting and is transported to the tower. And thankfully, annoying horny weasel boy follows her through it. Oh no! Gothel 5D chessed herself, and she was trapped by her own curse in the tower.
Never release your prisoner with a lying heart. Never release your prisoner with a lying heart. Never release your prisoner with a lying heart.
And apparently, we don't, again, magic doesn't have a lot of great rules in this universe. Apparently, her being trapped in the tower means that all of her curses are lifted, except the tower.
Except for the tower. Yeah, so, I was wondering about that too, like why Hugo gets released.
Hugo's chains fall off, the wall falls down. And that's that. So back at the castle, Rapunzel meets her dad for the first time, and it's very sweet. He says, your mother and I have never stopped thinking about you, which is very sweet. The kings decide to shake hands and forgive each other, and the feud is called off. At this point, I still don't think Rapunzel knows what Stefan's name is.
Yeah,
they never say it.
Also, like, if I were Stefan's dad, I would still be pissed at this guy. Come on, bro. Like, you never gave it up that I, like, murdered your daughter.
Yeah. I think, like, at this point, it's like we call it a wash. Everybody go to therapy. The two crazy kids get married. And we see that Rapunzel grows her hair out. So it is a personal style choice. Which, good for her. They have their own castle, apparently, which, like, where, how, and why. And when did they have time to build that?
Yeah.
And Rapunzel finally gets to see a beach for the first time. And it's
the same beach that was in her dreams.
Hot damn. I knew what a beach was this whole time. I'm so smart.
Yeah.
Which, good for her. She deserves that.
At this point, I was, like, pretty sleep deprived. And I wrote, come on, of course they get married and get to buy a fucking house. Like, everybody's doing it except for me.
And it's beachside property.
Beachside property. All right. These little 18-year-old children, they probably didn't buy their house. Probably daddy bought their house.
King Daddy paid for the house. Yeah. We just got to get in with King Daddy.
Yeah, I really do.
So then we skidoo out of the painting and we remember, oh my God, that's right. This was a fucking story that Barbie was telling Kelly. And Barbie asked Kelly, what do you think was the reason why I told you this story? And Kelly's like, oh my gosh, I wish I had a magic paintbrush. And Barbie gives her the lesson. She goes, any paintbrush is a magic paintbrush when you're the one holding it because the magic comes from inside you. And then Kelly decides that she's going to one-up Barbie. She's like, I know Rapunzel's secret. And Barbie goes, yeah, what is it? And Kelly goes, she painted what she dreamed. And Barbie says, when you do that, you never go wrong. And then Kelly just like scampers over to the blank canvas and she starts to paint. And we pan out and that's the end.
Part 4, Awards.
Welcome one and all to the second annual Destination Nostalgia Award Show.
We have many, many wonderful awards to pass out tonight, so let's just get right to it. Yes. For Barbie as Rapunzel the film, it received an overall rating of 9 out of 10 miladies. Yes. Very impressive.
The next award to be presented will be the Unique Opening Sequence Award. Now, every year, we review the most popular children's films, their opening sequences, which unfortunately are a dying art in this day and age. So when we see an especially exciting, colorful, inspired opening sequence, we find it a crime if we did not point it out. So the Unique Opening Sequence Award goes to, drumroll, Barbie as Rapunzel. Woo. Wow.
And to follow the unique opening sequence, this film also provided us with another unique visual treat in the category of makeover montage. For a unique makeover montage, Barbie as Rapunzel, of course, must win as well for their absolutely visionary take on the dress-up montage. Well deserved. Abstract art, what a concept.
Okay, this next award goes to an individual who was struggling with their creative process, learning how to paint, and discovering what it means to be an artist, a crisis we all have experienced.
I know, I've experienced it before. Last night.
So, the Painfully Relatable Creative Crisis Award goes to Kelly. Oh,
so young to win such an important award.
So young,
I'm so jealous. Well, speaking of old hags, my favorite nominee was just inspired and took over so many categories this year. Very well deserved. The award for Best Entrance goes to Gothel. Yes, I was terrified. She scared me.
Oh, man.
I had nightmares.
The next award goes to someone who knows how to manipulate like no other person does. This award is representative of the narcissistic abuse that was represented so clearly and honestly in this film. The Gaslight Gatekeep Girl Boss Award goes to Gothel.
I hope she leaves after this one.
She wasn't even invited.
Oh, God, okay. Oh, I wish I could say that the next award would be less uncomfortable. The Moaning Weasel Award goes to Otto of the Moaning Weasel. Get out of here. I hope that we never hear of him again, but unfortunately, this award will probably be shown in the future.
This next award is for a moment between two characters when they shared a scene together, and probably the only time in the entire film that they did interact, and we did get a sense of how little they knew of each other in this moment. So the Awkward Midnight Eye Contact Award goes to Rapunzel and Hugo.
So understated, but you could really tell that the actors worked hard on that scene.
Yeah, yes. They knew how to portray the awkwardness, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, someone else who also appeared in that scene is here for the next award. For doing the Lord's work and pushing the plot along, we give this award to the shooting star.
Yes.
Thank God you showed up in the third act, or the second act.
Airbrush into a paintbrush, thank God. The next award, it will likely be a recurring award, as this is a staple in all Barbie movies and many children's films and media. A classic moment, a shining light in the pinnacle of the film. The Magical Girl Transformation Award goes to Rapunzel.
Who could have seen that coming? Not me. When I spin around with a flashlight in my room, I get the cops called on me.
If only it was a little more subtle.
It's just Tuesday night for me. Oh, look at the time. We've arrived at our last award. But in my humble opinion, the most important award. This award goes to a lovely, lovely character who truly stood up for what she knew what was right and truly proved what it meant to be mighty. The Mighty Dragon Award goes to Penelope.
Oh,
yes.
Well deserved,
Penelope.
Arguably the greatest character arc in this film.
Correct. Even if she has human teeth, we will forgive that.
Still deserves. She is, in fact, a dragon.
Yes. Well, what an exciting night of awards. Truly ran the gamut of good and uncomfortable. Well, we'll see you next time. But until then, have a good night.
Attention all passengers, we are now preparing for landing. For your safety and the safety of those around you, please subscribe to this podcast. From all of us here at Destination Nostalgia, thank you for flying with us today. We hope to travel again with you very soon.